I asked you, what is there, Mr. President? What can I do for you? How can I be of help? And I don't know if you remember what you said to me, but you said, and I quote, "Gather the leaders of the world, ask them to support Ukraine."
That was President Biden speaking in Kyiv, Ukraine, earlier this morning. This 5-hour trip coming as a complete surprise. It was planned and carried out in secret by the U.S. military and the Secret Service, the White House press corps unaware that this was happening. National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan wrapping up a call moments ago. He provided more details about the president's trip.
We did notify the Russians that President Biden would be traveling to Kyiv. We did so some hours before his departure for deconfliction purposes. And because of the sensitive nature of those communications, I won't get into how they responded or what the precise nature of our message was, but I can confirm that we provided that notification.
Well, President Biden announcing an additional $500 million in U.S. assistance when he met with President Zelensky. That includes long-range shells, anti-tank missiles, air surveillance radars, but no new advanced weaponry, no talk yet of F-16s. Joining me now, Tennessee Congressman and member of the House Ways and Means Committee, David Kustoff. Congressman, good morning. Your reaction?
Good morning, Cheryl. Well, thank you for having me. Kudos for the president going to Ukraine. I think there are a lot of people here in the U.S. that would say you probably should have gone to Ohio and visited with the people who've been afflicted by the derailment first. But the other surprise is the amount of money that President Biden says that the United States is going to commit to Ukraine. Look, we're all for Ukraine. We support their effort against the Russians as we approach the one-year anniversary of the invasion of Ukraine. But the message that I get from constituents all across West Tennessee, and I think other members of Congress get, is we need to stop the spending. We've got to slow down the spending, and we need to take care of people at home first before we look to take care of people across the world. So there's going to be tremendous pushback, both, I think, from the House and from the Senate about additional expenditures for the Ukrainian effort. The president is really going to have to come in strong and explain the need and the necessity, because the message that I get from people here is we've got to stop.
Right. Well, what about oversight? I mean, the concern is, like we saw with COVID, is you had billions of dollars that were just thrown out, and waste and fraud was rampant to the tune of hundreds of millions of dollars. What about, is there any oversight from your committee, from you and your colleagues, Republicans in the House, as to how do we put a check mark on the now $30 billion we've already sent to Ukraine, and now this new $500 million?
Yeah, well, not only that money, Cheryl, but also the money that was expended and appropriated or earmarked during COVID, the uninsured funds that went to people who stayed home and didn't go to work, the money that went for PPP loans. We've got to really look to make sure that that money was not misused. There will be oversight. There will be accountability, not only from our committee on the Ways and Means, but certainly from the committee that Jamie Comer is chairing on House oversight, to claw back that money, all the abuse, all the fraud that we've seen over the last 2 and 3 years.
Interesting. Okay. And I do want to stay with this Ukraine story. I want to bring in Mike Lee. He's on set with me. He's got a question for you.
Hi, Congressman. Quick question for you regarding the debt ceiling. The administration keeps saying they will not negotiate and that we run danger of defaulting on our debt or not paying Social Security and Medicare. Well, that's a bold-faced lie. I mean, there'll be enough dollars coming in to cover that. But I want to know what is your demands to raise a debt ceiling for the U.S. What is the Republican House willing to? What does the Republican House need to get to be willing to give the administration more debt to add to our $32 trillion, which not so long ago was $20 trillion? Okay, this is, as your constituents have mentioned to you, and as you've discussed right now, this is spiraling out of control. So how are those negotiations going, if they're occurring at all? And in a perfect world, what would you guys like to see?
Yeah, thanks, Mike. Well, first of all, you're exactly right on the debt as we're approaching $32 trillion. And when I talk to folks in West Tennessee, I liken it to our credit cards that we give to our children. You know, once you hit the limit, you've either got to call the bank and the credit card company to lift that limit, but you've also got to look at your spending. So nobody wants to see the United States default on its debt. We want to be sensible. We want to be responsible, but we want a commitment from the administration that the spending is going to be dialed back. And so about 2 weeks ago, almost 3 weeks ago now, Speaker Kevin McCarthy met with President Biden, and you're exactly right. The Democrats and Biden have said early on that they didn't want to concede anything as it relates to spending in order to lift the debt ceiling. You've seen the president, after that meeting with Speaker McCarthy, pull back a little bit. And so those negotiations are going on between the White House and our Republican House leadership. You know, it's like we saw with the Speaker vote a month or so ago. Democracy can be messy, and as we look at negotiate how we lift the debt ceiling and dial back the spending, that may be messy also, but in the end, we'll work something out.
All right. And Congressman, obviously, we've got the crisis at the southern border. I know that's got to be addressed. There's plenty of investigations already underway with regards to the Biden family. A lot on the plate of Republicans in Congress. We're certainly going to be watching. Congressman David Kustoff, thank you very much for being here, sir.